The stage is set for the semifinal round of Top Fuel Eliminator as the Fort Worth, Texas oil man, Gene Snow, squares off against the reigning world champion, Shirley Muldowney from Mount Clemens, Michigan. Shirley has won the Top Fuel title at the Springnationals 4 times. She is the defending champion. She put on a new supercharger between the second round and this semifinal round of racing, trying to find that added horsepower advantage that she hopes will carry her past Snow and put her into the finals. For Gene Snow, he is applying those lessons learned for so many years of drag racing. He started back in funny cars many years ago, dropped out for a period of time as he formed his oil company, and then came back in Top Fuel Eliminator, is now matched against the reigning world champion in the semifinal round of racing. Snow in the far lane, Shirley Muldowney in the near lane. The burnout procedures completed. The crews have made their final checks of the cars, and it's a green light for both drivers. Shirley builds a bit of an advantage off the starting line, and she wins it by a car length. Shirley Muldowney, 5.89 seconds. Her speed over 241 miles an hour. As we look back, Shirley pulls away at the start and continues to maintain that lead as the two cars head down the quarter mile with a strip of paint that is the finish line. Shirley gets there first.
So Shirley Muldowney goes into the final round for the 5th time here at the Spring Nationals. And Shirley, you found that 10th, exactly, a 5.89.
Well, that may do it.
Get your sock up.
We've had some luck today, haven't we?
Well, the supercharger move paid off.
Yeah, I think I could have done something a little different on the line, but when they get here, they'll tell me.
Looks like there's plenty left in it now.
Oh, yes. Now we have something we can work with, and I'm sure they'll tune it up now.
Care to pick a winner for me in the other half of this round?
Yeah, for sure. Kerhulis, not as good a car, but a much better driver, and that's the one I'd like to race.
Let's watch it.
Steve, Shirley seems very set as to who she hopes her final round opponent will be. It'll be either Doug Kerhulis or Richard Tharp, both of whom are backing up in front of a huge crowd. Tharp from Dallas had the misfortune of losing the supercharger, exploding an engine in round number 1. He got the break, though, in the second round. For Kerhulis, it's been hard racing all the way, and Tharp, as the number 2 qualifier, just puts another roadblock in front of Doug Kerhulis to making it to the final. Kerhulis from Bakersfield is having a great time at this race. As you saw earlier in talking with Steve, he is very confident of both his ability and the quality of his race car. Kerhulis is just beginning to make his mark on the national event scene, primarily concentrating his efforts previously in the Southern California area. For Richard Tharp, there are hundreds of stories that can and have been told about this famed Dallas, Texas driver. He is a former national champion. He is a former world champion. Last season, he laid out of drag racing and went midget car racing. But this year, driving for the team of Kilpatrick and Cannell, he is qualified in the number 2 spot and is racing Doug Kerhulis for the right to race Shirley Muldowney, and Tharp with a big lead. Kerhulis had problems off the starting line. Tharp drives it all the way through to a 5.87 second elapsed time, 0.02 of a second quicker than Shirley Muldowney. That will give the lane choice, which could become all important to Tharp. Not an eye is taken off that starting line, though, as the funny cars get set. There are 4 cars remaining. It will be Raymond Beadle, the number 1 qualifier in the Blue Max, racing Gary Bergen in our first pair of cars in their semifinal round. Beadle and Bergen will be up in just a second. Steve Evans has had a chance to catch up to Richard Tharp.
For Richard Tharp, a very, very nice drive, and we have got some finals set up. Shirley Muldowney and Richard Tharp only 2/100ths of a second apart, and you're the quickest at 5.87.
That's good. You know, I always like to run Shirley anyway.
Well, I know you do. This is a little more of a war than a car race.
Yeah, well, she's created, so we'll let her have it.
You could did a super job of getting this thing back together, Richard. All 8 pistons out of it.
You know, we've had a little trouble this weekend, but we're going to get it together. We may get there. Who knows?
But when you had the blower flapping in the breeze in the first round, it's hard to believe you'd get this far now, huh?
Yeah, it sure is. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Richard.
A lot of credit has to go to Tharp and to his crew chief, Bill Schultz, to get the Kilpatrick and Cannell car into the finals, but it will be quite a race as Richard Tharp goes against Shirley Muldowney, and we have quite a race at hand as Gary Bergen goes against Raymond Beadle. Beadle in the blue Max in the far lane. Gary Bergen in the near lane, the Orange Baron out of Orange County, California, trying to take the measure of Raymond Beadle. Beadle the last to stage, and the first off the starting line as Beadle pulls ahead and crosses the finish line first with a 6.10, a 6:10. His elapsed time, the amount of time to travel that quarter of a mile from a standing start. So Raymond Beadle has moved into the finals of the Spring Nationals. He has been there before. Gary Bergen, his chance has got to come another year. The last pair of cars in this semifinals, Mark Oswald in the near lane, driving for Candies and Hughes. Will be running Rick Johnson from Utica, New York. Oswald, a former Top Fuel campaigner, moved into the brand new funny car this season for Candies and Hughes. Rick Johnson, one of the finer funny car drivers, and he has had an incredible string of victories at this event. Some say it's been a lot of luck, but Rick Johnson says he doesn't care how the win comes. He's in the semifinals. The winner of this race will match up against Raymond Beadle, and a great start as Oswald loses control of the parachute, comes out on Rick Johnson's car. Oswald across the finish line with a 6:41 elapsed time, but the time is immaterial. He got there first. As we look back, you can see the Candies and Hughes car in the near lane losing traction. Oswald moving towards the center line, and there comes the parachute. Rick Johnson's car vibrating severely, and the parachute coming out.
The ignition coil apparently having shook off of the Candies and Hughes car, but it still had enough electricity to power it to the finish line ahead of Rick Johnson. Mark Oswald trying to get his helmet off. He knew he was in a car race that time, I guarantee you. Had it not been for Rick Johnson's parachute coming out, we might not be talking here.
Would have been in serious trouble. He was out there a good ways. It was smoking the tires pretty hard.
Looked like you drove it right out the back door, a good deal past the finish line, just to make good and sure you won.
Yeah, I knew I got around him, but it wasn't by much.
Did you see his chute come out?
Try. Yeah, I didn't see his chute came out. I seen him slow down. I figured I'd get around him.
You sure did.
It took the car right off.
The storybook finish for Rick Johnson comes to an end as we're set for the professional finals at the Spring Nationals.